Okay, happy, what day of the week is it? Monday? Is it Monday? Yeah, Monday evening. Happy Monday. You know, there's a TGIF. Is there a TGIM? Thank goodness Monday's over with. I don't know. Mondays have such a bad reputation. You know, the way I look at it is, well, at least on Monday, I've got a couple days off. So I'm at least rested. Fridays, I'm burned out. Anyways, been a little while before we've been on, and we are pretty much ready to start our next project. Now, I've got some half-ass things done here. Half-ass meaning, you know, we started Mitch's city here. We've got Castle Brand here. You know, do that. We're going to move these things to the side, and we'll come back to them at some later date. I was just kind of doing that just to kill times. I didn't want to start working on this stuff before the convention and not be able to finish them, you know, because that's really not what we're going to work on next. And you know what? Let's start off with a clean slate. Let's do away with this thing. We're not going to throw this piece of cardboard away, but this is one that we'll use later to cut into pieces for. We have to use cardboard for epoxy and stuff like that. We want to start off with a completely clean slate, with a completely new project, and start correctly. There we go. And yeah, so I've got a couple things here that I need to show you guys that we got at the convention. We didn't do a lot of buying. Of course, you know, what I like to say is I don't really need anything, which is fortunate. I'm not going to buy things just to buy some, but I did end up picking up some things over at the show. The convention I'm talking about, of course, is Recon 2022. It had been a couple of years since, a year and a half, 2 years, 2 years and a half, something, I don't know. September 2019 was the last one that we went to. And yeah, it was successful. Met some people I hadn't seen them in a long time, and so forth. So did end up doing some buying on that. But we've got these things that I'm going to just move them out of the way. These are not Byzantine related, and we're going to move these things somewhere. Let's see if I got a little box or something to put them in. Somewhere that they're not going to get damaged. All right, so of course I did a really good job of mounting everything. Oh, that's a lovely sound. The rest of my Byzantine figures down here are big. Yep. I gotta get back in the groove of what exactly I was doing, but. Okay, these are the ones we had picked out. Got it. All right. I rearranged a couple things in here off camera last week, so we're able to get to our bookcase a little easier. And the reference material. Because one of the things that we want to look at is we want to look at a couple of sources I have here for Byzantine stuff. And we want this one. We want this one. And I'm not sure that I have anything else related to them. There's so much information that's on the internet that it's not really necessary as it used to be in the past to make sure that you have all your Osprey books and stuff like that. You can pretty much go it alone. Here's one. You can pretty much go it alone and just rely on things you may find on the internet. Let's say there's one other one. Here it is. Here's the one. All right. I want to say there was one more. I don't have that many Osprey books. That's not like saying that I need to get more. I'm plenty good with that set. I thought I had one of the battles. I guess I didn't. Okay. Okay, so the reference materials we have is Byzantium Beyond the Golden Gate. This is Warhammer Historical. They made these for a number of years, and then all of a sudden they just, in typical Warhammer fashion, typical Games Workshop fashion, they stopped supporting things, which that is one of the things I dislike the most about them, is that they do things like that. That doesn't really work well for folks like myself that are really slow painters. So there's some nice artwork in here, and also examples of painted armies and such. So we're going to keep this nearby. We're going to be working on this Byzantine project probably the rest of the year, because the plan is I've got 3 things I want to work on simultaneously, so to speak. I want to do the Comnenian list, both of them, the A and the B list, and also the Constantinian one, which is the earlier one. A lot of the troop types are going to be similar. The cavalry, the heavy mounted troops will be the same for all of them. The earlier list, for instance, has some spearmen that happen to be Armenians. I have Armenian troops from Old Glory. They should work just fine. It has an artillery piece. It's got an 8 bow. It's got a command post for the emperor. That's the defining things of the Constantinian one. The Comnenian one and A and B are very similar to each other. They've got a core of some light horse and some. Oh, and the earlier one also has Normans. So we'll get to paint some Normans, which I have a metric ton of Normans. I've never painted one. Specifically as Normans, because some of them did do duty as my feudal Spanish. But we'll get to do some Normans. Then with the Comnenians, we've got Varangian Guard figures. Okay, so those are always a fan favorite. Bowmen, light horse, and so forth. So, anyways, we're going to be busy working on them for a while. So, and they should be pretty colorful. And I got some ideas on how to do a couple things, and including, I'm going to point out something I don't like. Okay, and when it comes to shield patterns, they have these, and I'm actually may try to see if I do like it. But one of the later Byzantine things, the guys on the cover, this is Giuseppe Rava's work, which is he does some really good work. He's not my favorite. He's not my favorite because not that I could paint better than this. I can't. But he has a lot of white in his. I don't know if you. There's just a lot of. I like a little bit more contrast than that. That's just his style. But you look at these shield patterns here for these almond-shaped shields. They almost have like this feather or like a feather claw. You can't really tell here. I don't like those shield patterns of feathers and feather claws, so I don't think I'm going to do any of them that. We're going to do the earlier style almond-shaped shields with the heavy cavalry. I just think it looks odd. But anyhow, we'll get to that when we get to that point. But anyways, there's good stuff in here. The other books we're going to be using, of course, in Osprey Land, we've got Byzantine armies, 8088 to 1118. All right, and there's some color plates here. This has got to be Angus. Yeah, this has got to be old Angus McBride, which was like my favorite illustrator until, you know, he died ahead of his time. Yeah. So this is a rather old book. I bet this is from the 80s. Or even earlier. Reprinted 1981, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. I guess they reprinted it every year. Every year through 99. So, I guess this is kind of an older book. We've got that one. We have Byzantine armies, 1118 through 1461. And, yeah, see, this artwork is also Angus McBride, but you can tell it's more modern. It's less washed out and stuff like that, so. Got some later period stuff than that. We're basically interested just in the earlier style. Mr. Dirk, welcome. Am I off work today? No, but I'm done working. It's almost 9 p.m. on a Monday. And I will tell you, we just got back from our convention, and the last event at our convention was a 25 millimeter open. Or I should really call it a 28 millimeter open. And luckily there were some loner armies. And I'm going to tell you what, I enjoyed that a lot more than I should have. That doesn't mean I'm going to be painting 28 millimeter armies, but it does mean I'm looking forward to when we get to do it again. Because the board was 4 foot by 4 foot, I stood up the whole time I was playing the game. And because the battlefield was so much bigger, I even used a bigger dice. The dice was... I'm really not sure how big it was. It might have been like 20 millimeter or something like that, square. I was really getting a good roll on it. I almost felt like I was playing craps and really was enjoying myself. So I enjoyed playing with the bigger figures, although I won't be painting any because I don't have time for that. Literally, I do not have time for that. But yeah, I had a good time playing that in the last event yesterday morning. And the other two books we'll be doing is Armies and Enemies of the Crusades, 1096, 1291. This is Wargamers Research Group by Ian Heath. And as a matter of fact, he did the other two Byzantine books as well. So, and the last one, which is also Ian Heath, is Armies of the Dark Ages, 600 to 1066. So we're going to grab some ideas from here for ideas of how to paint guys in this book and this one. Look at some things, and then ultimately take our artistic license and do whatever the hell we want. But we want to at least have an informed decision. So, we've got a unit of spearmen here, and this was originally the guys I was going to paint first. These are by Old Glory. They are already black based. It is close to 9 o'clock at night, so I do not think I'm going to be starting this project by painting these figures. I don't think that's how that's going to start. So I'm probably just going to sort things away and decide, what exactly we're going to do with what. Because we're going to be painting for a long time when we get around to this. And anyhow, so the first thing I want to do is let's take a look at the DBA book itself. Okay. And originally I was going to pick up and do the Comnenian army. Oh, it's not here? It should be. Oh, I have too many compartments. Okay. Originally, I was going to do the Comnenian book first. But several people played the Comnenian army at the convention. And the command post is so wacky that I think I'm actually going to start doing the Constantinian army first. So let's lay out the stuff for the Constantinian army. All right, and I should already be half pre-sorted here anyways. Okay. So these are the guys for the 8 bow stand. They had already put these guys away in this little container, in this little compartment. These are the 8 bow stands, so it's going to be 4 bowmen and 4 spearmen. And these are figures by none other than Alain Toulaire. And I need to put this in a way. I need a bigger table is what I need. I don't think I'm going to replace the spears, because in doing so, even though this is soft metal, I'm going to have to carve some of this off and get really close to it. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I think we're going to, I think we're actually, what we're going to do is, we may actually put the bowman in front of the spearmen. And the reason we're going to do that is because I don't mind having them behind them if it looks like they are going to be able to shoot over their heads. But all of these bowmen are shooting like straight ahead. So if you've got this guy in front of him, you know, he's going to get pegged in the back of the head. So I think I'm going to put the spearmen in the back. The other thing that'll allow me to do is, because these spears are kind of bendy, it's going to protect them from being mishandled better if they're in the back line than if they're all the way in the front where they're going to get touched and banged into. So these are the units for that element, okay? We have a catapult, which I do not own a figure for, and I'm going to build it out of scratch, out of little pieces of wood. I'm not going to have a crew with it, though, because it's probably going to take up the whole 40 by 40 stand. All right, what else is in here? We have, do they have a stand of Saloy? If they take Saloy, it costs them a cavalry or a Norman knight. Okay, well, either way we have a Saloy. And again, these Saloy are going to be the same for the Comnenian list. These are the fast bowmen for the Comnenians. This is a command post bag that we sorted. How many light horsemen do they have? One. They can have 2, but they're going to be Turks, Alan, Pechneg, or Kuman. Or Cumin. Horse archers. All right. Well, that'll be none of these guys. Let's take a look at what we got here in this command post. Mr. 2K, you got it. 2003. Unbelievable. And you think 940 of the games are against Mitch. So even if you take Mitch's games out, that's a lot. One thing I didn't check, because I did not have access to it at the time, how many different folks I've played. That should be pretty easy to do. Let me just bring up the screen here. $134 different people. I've played 134 different people, and 2003 games with him. Welcome to Heavy Metal DBA. Actually, I think I used an Anglo-Norman army, and I think some of the troops were plastic. I think some of them were plastic. I liked it. And no, I didn't feel dirty. But I just don't have time to. I just don't have time to play, to do something that's going to make the game take a lot longer. So. Anyhow. So the very first person I played is somebody that moved out of Florida. The second person I ever played just came back this last convention. There's a guy named Pat Rosado. And I played him once, and he was the second game I ever played in my first tournament. And yeah, he came back and played in Collision Course. He played in Collision Course on Saturday morning. Saturday, also known the day that I felt like crap all day because of I must have something pinched in my neck. But anyhow, so we've got these two Soloi we can paint up. Let's clean them up. Let's clean these guys up. Put them on a base. Put them on pennies. We got to do that. Don't worry about the command post. All right. Oh, so stuff I got. All right. Stuff I picked up at the convention, which was very little. We picked up more tufts because you can never have frickin' enough tufts. I think I've got every single color of tuft now. This is more gamer's grass. It's made in Portugal. And dry green is what this is. I don't think that any of these colors are going to be used on the Byzantines, but I picked them out anyways. And then we've got strong green also. This is kind of a jungle type color. And speaking of jungle, look at these big ass things. Thick stuff. This is called spiky green. Oh yeah. Well, this is going to be something for, when maybe I make an Indian or a Southeast Asian army, we'll use them. We're not going to put this stuff with the troops that we're doing now. But I picked those up while I was there. Now I think I probably have, 14 different type tufts. We're not going to use them all in every army. We're going to probably not use any more than, say, 3 and do that. So let's get us some pennies. Oh, and the other thing that was kind of unique. Well, we'll wait till there's more people on. If more people decide to come on, I'll bring that excitement up to the front. All right, so let's get some pennies. Got to use pennies for something. So yeah, I got these Spearmen base black, but I'm not going to do the Comnenians first. I'm going to do the Constantinians. And the Constantinian spear are Armenians. So I've got Armenian spearmen to use. Also from Old Glory, so we'll use them. All right, so we got 2 Soloi, and then we've got 8 units that we'll need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Counting pennies. What'd you do today? I watched Tony count pennies on video. Ooh, exciting. And a super glue. And X-Acto knife. All right. Let's take these 2 Soloi first. I like Old Glory figures, but sometimes they are kind of rough. They're kind of flashy. There's some of the better figures as far as stoutness, and not be flimsy. course not. Why would they be able to? There we go. It's got like boots on. It's got this almost like a Scythian little cap on. Man, that fan's noisy. Whatever speed it's at, it doesn't like that speed. Next time you're doing nights, found this really useful, especially for early medieval period. What did you find really useful? I love painting knights. I just don't like how they misbehave. This guy almost looks like he's got a little gnome hat. Still making a noise? Right. And these are a lane 2 layer. And they're very soft, unfortunately. So I've got some old museum miniatures Turks, Seljuk Turks, that I'll use as the light cavalry in this army, since they basically are mercenaries. The Constantinian army was the one that came in after the Nicephorian. And it was a less military, is a more civilian dominated and therefore had a lot of they cut a lot of the funding for many of the troops, so they ended up having to use a lot of mercenaries. So that comes in handy if you're painting stuff, because that means I can paint Normans and Armenians and other stuff that, you know, it's going to make the makeup look varied. Nordic Maelstrom, you live. How was the convention? It was great. It was great, except for the neck ache that I ended up getting all day Saturday. It was like a headache that wouldn't go away and wasn't curable. I need to remember to bring my own pillow. I think that's what it was. The pillow that I had in the room just didn't have enough support. And I ended up pinching something in my neck and was just kind of felt like shit half the time, I would say. So there was lots of events I didn't play in. I just kind of tried to walk around and find a position that I felt okay in. So Mitch took more of a front center than normal. And I didn't feel like I enjoyed the convention. I was not looking forward to painting. So now one thing, we got 4 people on here. Yeah, okay, I'll bring it up now. So one of the things that the convention does is the convention always gives away a die for the convention. So when when you pre-register, they give you a dice for the convention. Let me see, where's my big old pack of dice. And I'll show you some of the ones that they've done in the past. And it's actually a pretty cool thing. I did such a good job of hiding the dice, now I can't find them. Remember, they spilled on me. Let's see, I don't know what the container looks like. I'll look here for a moment, see where I can find them. Because I normally only use these dice at the convention. I don't go and use them later. Yeah, I can't find things on demand figures. Yeah, I don't know where the hell my big thing of dice is. Did I put it up here? Here it is. Put it for safekeeping and I can't even find it. So they've done this for probably over 10 years. I think I have some here. This is where they're supposed to be. Oh, here we go. This is probably one of my favorite ones. I don't remember what year it is. They usually say what year it is, but there isn't one on here. HMGS South in the state of Florida. That's our organization. Here it is, HMGS South 2016, couple palms. And it usually want it on the 6, because if it's on the 1, then you're like, damn it, this place sucks. So there's a few that they did first that were on the 1, and then we were like, hey, can you really, can you not do that? I thought I had more. I've got, here's one they did right here, 2017. I don't remember what the theme of this one was. Here's a Roman one that they did with a Roman numeral die. This was one, it's got a rat on it, 2017. I'm not sure what the hell this one was, what the theme was of it. Anyhow, I generally only use those at the convention. Is this another one? No, this is a Nassim dice. There's HMGS South. This is where they would put it on the, this is one of the earliest ones they did, and they put it on the 1, so. Anyhow, I probably have a couple other ones. They've been doing it for a while. They do one every year and so forth. So this year, and it's based on what the theme of the thing. So this year they decided that the theme was going to be revolutions. So somebody, and I'm not a fan of some of these dice. I don't like marble dice. They look like bowling balls to me, and they're hard to read. So like when they got this is actually a marbled Florida one. I happen to like this one a lot. I found one that was as dark a blue as I could get, so that you know, it pops a little bit better. But it's a revolution theme this year. So somebody in their infinite wisdom decided to do a Marxist symbol for it. A symbol I'm not particularly fond of. So let's just say, when I got the die, I'm like, who was the genius that came up with this thing? So let's just say we didn't use this we didn't use this die. Actually, I thought I'd do a video where I would crush it, but you know. And as a matter of fact, not to get too political, I got a guy I work with that, and I talked to him about, you know, I saw a car with the Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, you know, I'm fine with that. I just wish they'd picked a different symbol, because to some of us whose ancestors came from a country that was oppressed by communism, we don't really like seeing this symbol. So I'm sure you guys could have come up with a better symbol other than this one. So anyhow, and he understood where I was coming from with that. Here's another one with this cavalry or something like that. Anyhow, it's kind of a cool thing to do. I only use them at the cons and nowhere else, so. Anyhow. No, I'm not going to smash it. I'm just not going to use it. And it's the first time they came up with something that wasn't marbled, so I like the idea of that. I don't like that symbology. Symbolism. Anyhow. I'm not a fister. All right, let's put this stuff on here. So they should have used a guillotine or something like that. That would have been better. Oh. Boy, this guy is off. All right. What is it going to take to get this guy to... Let's run this through his legs. And bend him back. There we go. There we go. One Saloy guy. Another Saloy guy. All right, these guys, do they need any cleanup on things here? Wish the Black Lives Matter would have come up with a better catchphrase. Yeah. Hey, I get it. I mean, if my people are, if I feel like they're being discriminated against, I get that. I don't like the fist, man. You guys need to pick something else, That's no bueno. No hammers, no sickles, no swastikas. Pick something new. It's exactly the same symbolism as you have, you've got places in frickin' Cuba and stuff that have that shit all over the place. I don't like that. You could do better than that. Do I need to design something for you guys, Okay. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to put these guys in the front row. The other thing is an 8 bow. Do you consider it a shitty fighting spear that can shoot? Or is it more protected bow? And I think of it as more protected bow. So putting the bow in the front ranks, which, they just come to the front ranks to shoot, and then they go hide behind the spearmen again. Like I did that with my Burgundians. Helps remind you that they're really bowmen. Well, that was not very intelligent of myself, putting this back. But no, we had a great time. I really, more than any convention ever before, I was the least interested in playing. The night before, I was not excited about playing in any particular event with any particular one of my armies, and just wanted to hang out with folks, and pretty much did a good bit of that. I did play a bit, but then I really wasn't on my game in that, well, I went 2-1 in everything I played, which honestly, the way things have been going recently, I call that a win. But I wasn't able to play in Collision Course, so I didn't use my baggage element. And I forgot to play my Moldavians in the open with Polish allies. That was the whole point of me playing them. And I forgot. I ended up using the Pope instead, and played a couple of epic games with the Pope that is a real shame that they weren't filmed, because you wouldn't believe the stuff that happened in it. But 15th Panzer Division came over from Tobruk, put a beating on the British 4th and 7th Armored Brigades, a support group, and the Guards' 2nd Motor Infantry Brigade and Brazen Chariots. Kind of amusing that one division stalled 3 brigades and a support group. Now the 15th took some losses, had to pull behind the Italian frontier units. Is that Operation Crusader? Sounds like Operation Crusader. Got a video game on Operation Crusader that haven't really messed with. Of course, it was a long time ago. It was from that whole V for Victory series by I think the name of the company was 360. I played those a lot. I never got a chance to play the Crusader one, only because by the time I got a hold of it, it was so like no longer in vogue. But it's a counters type game, which I'm not opposed to. Yeah, the British armored divisions had a lot less infantry than the German ones did. The Germans had almost a 50-50 tanks versus infantry, and the British had, I want to say 3-1. Might have actually been 4-1. And then on top of that, a lot of those 2-pounder British tanks, they had to have those 3-inch howitzer versions mixed in so they have some HE capability. Because otherwise, all you got is machine guns. Or, 25-pounder artillery to fight that. But I talked at length with someone that's really wanted to convince me to start playing my World War II game again at a convention that they're trying to start up. And I don't know yet if he's been successful or not. I told him if I do it, it's not for like a whole year. I'm going to, if I do that, it'll end up being something with partisans. But I shouldn't call them partisans because it makes it sound like they could be Russian. But no, just, French resistance fighters, Maquis. And, I'd have to paint about my Maquis, which is only like 12 figures. And if I get around to painting those 12 figures in this next year or so, in between other things I have, then, yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot to run the rules over there. But I told him you're going to have to play in my game if that's the case. But we'll see. I don't really want him to interfere in my Byzantine project doing that, but we'll see how that plays out. I think that's like in March or something like that next year. So I don't like saying I'm going to do something and I don't do it. So I'm still kind of like maybe we'll see if that works out. Hey, maybe some of you guys will get some new viewers by putting World War II stuff. Although World War II, when I was in it, 20 millimeter was the main scale, and then 28 and 15s have just taken off. 15s for Flames of War and things like that, and 28s for bolt action type stuff. So, to me, World War II land was always either 20 mil or 1/285th. I guess what's that? 6 mil. Mini Crusader. Yeah. I think the Axis are going to do a fighting withdrawal to stall in the Commonwealth. They need to get 2 victory hexes, open a supply route to Tobruk to win. The Ariete division is driving. That was like the best Italian division too, Ariete. Hard to Libya to come in on the Commonwealth left flank. I thought I was just having Axis do a fighting withdrawal, hang on objectives, stalling for as long as possible. Yeah, what's the name of that game? You have. There's a game that that looked kind of interesting looking, and I want to say it's for Operation Crusader, and I want to say what really makes it stand out is the counters were relatively large. Well, they weren't this big, but they weren't really small ones either. They were kind of in between sized, and I don't know what it was called. Maybe they had been like, say this size but square or something like that. And I want to say it's for, had a funky name of the rules. Bolt action, nice set of rules, but the unit organization's horrible. You can create such odd units that make no sense. I've seen people play it and it's not for me. It's not for me. Definitely not for me. The game that has potential and it's still not for me is Mr. Rick. Welcome. I was going to take a picture of what I thought was a Bronco in the parking lot that had a wrap on it. It had imagine like a city camo in Splinter. And then I got closer. I'm like, that's no Bronco. That's a Defender. It looked pretty sweet. Until it breaks. And then you wish you'd bought a second Defender. Those are cool looking vehicles on the outside. I don't know if they're that reliable, but they look cool. But the game that comes close, and I've watched several playthroughs of it, is, and the reason it comes close is because of the scale of the game. Although it's a little bit more zoomed out that I like, it seems to move pretty well. But it is a dice 6 system, which scares the living crap out of myself. To do that, to mix that to World War II, is Chain of Command. And I've played a game of Chain of Command, but it's just not detailed enough for me. So, Con looked like it was a blast apart from the migraine on Saturday. Absolutely. Yeah, that was the problem. 2,000 games. Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. So, but again, proof once again that I really want to film anything because I'm playing in the open, my papal army, and I can't even describe the miracles that happened. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So, all right, let's put some more super glue down for this stuff, and I've just gotten to the point where I don't even want to win anymore. I just want to get inside people's heads. That's more fun than winning. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a couple of Chain of Command games on there done by the authors of it. And it has potential from the standpoint of, there's a game within the game finding out where the conflict's going to take place on the board. It's not like it's automatic, so where they're going to be. Okay, this is the 8 bow for those guys. I'm not going to get any painting done, but I can at least pull some of these guys out. This is the 8. Oops. Stand up here, dude. This is kind of soft metal, so I really don't want to press down on their legs too much. You really don't want to be inside my head, Tony. Well, how about just screw with you? How about that? Lots of people are just really superstitious. It's a lot of fun to really egg those people on. All right, so we got a command post here. Let me get a 40 by 40 stand, because a lot of who we're going to put on there depends on who fits on there. the same turnout as we always do. I think we consistently did better than last time. We got a couple games that had 10 players in it. I think last time we did it, we had a couple 8s and a 6. You know, all you can do is just run games, and you know, you end up getting some new players and a couple of old players don't show up, so it's kind of a wash. But you know, we had one gentleman from Washington State that joined us, one of the main organizers of BBA out there. He decided to fly down and had a good time playing with him. Had a new player that he follows this channel, and he lives relatively close, so we got to meet him. Everyone won at least one game. That is incorrect. Some people did not win one game. Most people did win one game, so it was the exception. I think in each tournament there was never more than one person that didn't win a single game. Every time I play a Hex Encounter game, I'm playing myself, you know. Reading results of all the different game types. The cool thing was no one got shut out across the weekend. Some might have gone 0-3-1, but win at least one or another. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nobody got shut down, which that's kind of unlikely to happen. You got to have some bad juju for that. All right, so we got the horse. We got the emperor on the horse. We can glue him down. That's a job for epoxy, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot of guys. Well, we're going to have a guy on a horn, because what else am I going to use him for? Let's at least glue him on we need more pennies. Okay. Here's another guy with a horn. This is an old glory guy with a horn. This guy's a gladiator figs. I kind of like this guy. Okay. How big is this guy on the horse? I kind of like this guy too. White metal flag. Problem with those is they're not very forgiving. You break one of those, you're up a creek. Yeah, playing against yourself, you always have a 50-50 record. Yep. You're even able to argue with yourself. You just don't lose an argument against yourself. That's not a good precedent. I find that talking to yourself is a really good way to stay focused. If I'm doing something really complicated that has lots of different moving parts, I frequently will talk to myself. Self-coaching, as I like to call it. Just don't get in an argument with yourself and lose the argument. Okay, so this is a potential banner dude. This is a potential banner dude. This banner is extremely small. So let's not use him. We're not going to use this guy with a horn or that one. We're going to use him. We're going to use this guy as the horn blower. This guy on the horse. Maybe an officer guy wearing having a mace. And And then the Varangian Guard guys that are spearmen. And at this time, they ended up using round shields and spears, not axes. So these two are the same pose. This one's a different pose. This one's a different pose. Now the Pope has 4 spearmen on him, and I like how it looks. I think I'm going to do the same thing with this one. This one's going to have, let's see, this is this pose. This is the same one. It's 2 of each pose. So we're going to use those guys. And then we'll have an officer there. Guy blowing the horn. This, man, that's going to be a cluster. So if we got this guy on the horse somewhere like this, let's put a spearman in each corner, see what it looks like. Okay. We don't have to have an officer. This guy's blowing. This guy's, say, carrying a flag here. And this guy's on horseback. So something like this is what I can see the command post looking like. It fights as a knight general, so it needs to look pretty tough. And I'm telling you, it is really pretty tough. The best thing you could do with a command post, a lid or something like that, is just ignore the living crap out of it. So. See if I can get them. That's what I see this command post looking like. Okay, because it's literally, the way it's described is, you can have a cav general or emperor on horse with purple caparison with Varangian escort. So, I think this is who we're going to use for that. This guy with a sword way the hell out here, you may end up hurting that guy, and we don't need a maceman. Alright, whatever bag these guys are in, now we made a final determination of who's going to be on there. Let's go ahead and glue these guys down. These guys over. We're going to need one horse. Varangian guard is drunk on duty. He keeps falling over. Well, you know, they are Viking-ish. So, those guys drink a lot? Yep. I'm about to finish my second book on the Byzantines, and I'm probably going to read another one, or have another one read to me, as I like to say. Just to kind of get in the, stay in the spirit of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got plenty of them here. Oh, we got to clean these figures up first. Something I shouldn't have to do. These shields, I can tell you right now, they're all going to be, they're probably going to have the same motif on them. These. Now, the Varangian Guard that I have in the Comnenian list, that is blades, they're axemen, they won't have the same shields, but these guys will, because they're escorting the freaking Emperor, so it's not about them. It's not about them when they're doing that duty. So, they're going to have a red shield with a black symbol on it, like a raven or something like that. They're all going to have the same one. There we go. Now this guy. This really should be something I shouldn't have to do to this extent. Is clean the flash off these figures. But I think the molds have been used a few times. Well, I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be able to get on here if I'm yawning this much. We're watching Vikings Valhalla, and honestly, I'm not impressed at all. I don't think I'm going to watch any more of the show. Is it worse than the original series? I just started watching the original series again. And I'm like 5 episodes in. And it's better than when I remember watching it before. Am I going to use the banner, the image at the bottom of the screen? Banner bearer, the command post. I am not. That's going to be the command stand of the Comnenian army that is not a command post. So I'm probably going to do a more simplified version of that, or something different, or maybe paint a Madonna and Child, or those symbols that the Byzantines used. I think there's another flag. I did see a flag for the Emperor, so that's why I actually wanted a square one for him. All right, so that's gluing. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dropping things has begun. It was always fumbles. It was always fumbles. 8, 4, 5, 6. I don't know why there's 7 out here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like the original one. Valhalla is just not that great. I don't care much for the concept of Christian Vikings. Just don't fumble when throwing the holy hand grenade of Antioch. 3 shall be the number of the counting, and the number of the counting shall be 3. 4 is right out. Yeah, it started too late. It started later than I wanted to tonight. We'll mix up a smidge of epoxy. Oh, now I need that little. Oh, there's one right here. Do I have to work in the morning or still out for the convention? Oh, I had to work this morning. We got back about 3 p.m. last night. So I got a half day home before the convention. Went into work today. Half day home after the convention, sorry. Went into work today and fixed all the shit that went wrong, which wasn't too bad. It mostly went wrong. Yeah, we're gonna have to lay this down a little bit thicker. You like that hornblower figure. You like him better than the other one? I think he looks kind of cool. He looks a bit Old Testament, to be honest with you. Where's the other figure? Well, I sent him away. I like him better than the I mean, this is like a horn, not just like a, like a horn on your head that they made a horn out of. My wit knows no bounds. Yeah, see this figure's actually kind of weird looking, in that they're rather large, but they'll end up mixing up really nicely. I think. I particularly like how big this banner is. So, anyhow, so we got the Emperor. This is the big man himself, and. What was the name of that guy that was at Manzikert? I forget what the hell it was. Romanos the Fourth, I think is what it is. I think Romanos the Fourth, Diogenes, I think is what the guy's name is. So that's who this guy's going to be. The guy that got his ass captured by the Turks at Manzikert. I want to play him, so how badly can I do? Well, at least he didn't get captured. I'll tell you what, a litter general, command post, anything like that, is a major pain in the butt to do, to try to take out. Because it's a blade general that doesn't advance. It only costs 1 pip to move, and it can't advance into combat, but you got to double it to kill it, and it's a 6/5 because it's a general, so it's hard to double that. And thoughts on figure height differences is realistic. Units would seldom, if ever, have people the same height throughout. That's right, especially if they're reenactors. You always seem to be short and fat. Just saying. Especially on the fat part. There's always fed. There's never nobody reenacting like troops that never got fed. Okay. Well, I think that's where we're going to stop for the night. We've been on a little bit over an hour. I'm going to have to, at some point, get my Armenians, look for them spear or whatever. I have so many Normans to pick from. Because it's at least 2 stands of Norman Knights mounted. So, okay. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks. And like I said, we're back. So we should be able to paint more frequently because it's been like over a week since I've been able to paint. I think it's been over a week, maybe not. And fat reenactors. It's true. I remember one time we were at Disney Hollywood Studios, or as I like to call it, MGM Studios. That's what it used to be called before. And they were going to do a Star Wars parade with the 504th First Legion or something like that. Some legion of reenactors that reenact stormtroopers. So I remember it was like 95 degrees. My daughter was little. She was small enough that she was on my shoulders. And we're sitting there waiting for the parade to come because we just happened to be there. And it took them forever to get there. When we did, there was like 500-pound reenactors. And, it was too much. It was every part of it. It's like, you guys aren't in the movies, That is the type of unit you place on an objective or key position on the field and let the enemy fumble around trying to get past or get through it. It is. As you like to say with the Pope, it's like, man, that guy will talk your ear off. Go avoid him. Will I be on the morning again? I don't think I'm going to be on in the morning. Aren't you a little fat to be a halberdier? Anyhow, so I don't know if I'll be on in the morning. I got to be quiet if I get on the mornings now, so we'll see. Maybe I could at least get 45 minutes in. So, okay, thanks for stopping by, folks. And again, we might even have some filming even at the end of this week. We'll see how that goes. Okay,